Hello, welcome back, and as always, I hope you're doing well. Right, what a week it's been for Beatles. Everywhere I look, Beatles reactions, Beatles thoughts, everywhere I go on YouTube, and it's now on the radio, now and then. Now, I wasn't going to do a video on this. I thought I'd just leave it to everybody else. But then I thought to myself, well, I've had a few days to reflect on it all, so here's my penny's worth. So, Wednesday, the 1st of November, there was I at 7:30, waiting to see the documentary. Now, you know, the 12-minute documentary about Now and Then. Because I know about Now and Then, the John song. I mentioned it in my last video. And I was refreshing the page and refreshing the Beatles page, and it came up that awful, sorry to say it guys, Beatles cover Now and Then. And it says, going live in 40 hours or something. And I think, what have I done wrong? Have I done something wrong? Anyway, so I went to the Beatles main page. I was 5 minutes late to the party, and it had already had a load of views. So I sat, quite open-minded, you know, and watched this 12-minute documentary. And I loved it. I did enjoy it. I loved the whole process and the reason why they went back. I loved it when they isolated John's voice and you see that big studio desk and John's crystal clear voice.
I know it's true. It's all because of you.
I thought, this is amazing. But with today's AI and technology, maybe it isn't that amazing. It was a lovely little documentary. I did really enjoy it. And it caught me off guard a couple of times. You know, when it went to 2001 and George had gone, I kind of just got a bit of a gulp in my throat. The Beatles are very, very good, or the producers of these things are very good at tapping into our emotions, and it got me. But it did hype me up for the next day. I was really looking forward to listening to Now and Then, the new and last Beatles single. So, yeah, I did enjoy it. So, Thursday the 2nd, there I was, eagerly waiting to listen to the song. And they released it. Now, I haven't gone out and bought it, like I explained. I'm not going to buy the expensive single, although they have released it now on CD single, which I think is fitting. They should have done that, because when they released Free as a Bird and Real Love, they came out on CD single, and some people still like CDs. I still like CDs. But the song itself, what do I think of it? I like it. I do like it. Is it great? What you got to realise is this was a John Lennon demo from 1977. So it's very much of that time. And, you know, it was a demo. John didn't even, when he released Double Fantasy in 1980, before he was tragically murdered by Mark Chapman, he didn't include it on the album. So that's how much John thought of this idea and this song. But, having said that, if you've heard John's original demo of this, it's actually quite beautiful. I think he's singing to Yoko, but the Beatles version make it seem like Paul and John are sort of singing to one another. Where it comes to that relationship, I love Paul McCartney's Here Today. That one always gets me. That one really does. But one thing that kind of bugged me is the pre-chorus verse. You know, John sings on the demo, I don't want to lose you, oh no, abuse you or confuse you, and all them lyrics. Now, I get it. Paul and Ringo like the Beatles' legacy to be fab, love, peace. I get that. And that's probably why we'll never ever get to see on Blu-ray or DVD or 4K Michael Lindsay Hogg's documentary, Let It Be, which is a little bit depressing to watch, but we're human. Not everything is Yellow Submarine all the time. Don't get me wrong. I love this Get Back. Peter Jackson, what he done on here is absolutely remarkable. But would you like to still see Let It Be remastered? I would. It's part of the Beatles' legacy. So I've got mixed feelings about the song. It feels to me very much like a Paul McCartney song, you know. And also, in the documentary, Paul says,
we had kept George's guitar parts from 95, and I thought what I'd like to do is do a slide guitar solo in George's style.
So it's not George playing the slide guitar. What? So that kind of bothered me a little bit, you know. We know Paul and Ringo laid down a new bass and a new drum track, which sounds very crisp and clean and modern compared to John's vocals, which to me are of that time, very much of the 70s. But I know they used harmonies from Here, There and Everywhere. Was it Eleanor Rigby and Because? Now, if you listen to Paul's, I should be saying George's, slide guitar bit, you can hear Because. The, I mean, we all love Because. You can clearly hear that. But I couldn't place Here, There and Everywhere harmonies and Eleanor Rigby. Maybe you might be able to point them out to me in the comments down below. The last Beatles song, and like I said, that's questionable. Is it a masterpiece? Is it Strawberry Fields? Is it something? Is it Hey Jude? No, nowhere near. Is it as good as Free as a Bird? Questionable. Or Real Love. You know, it's a bit of a Frankenstein, if you ask me. Am I glad I heard it? Of course I am. Have I played it a lot? About 15 times now. I even showed the wife, because obviously then come Friday, Peter Jackson's first music video was released. And I was there at 1:30 or 1 o'clock, whenever it was. And it caught me off guard. Of course it did. It caught us all off guard. Pulled on every one of our heartstrings, seeing old Paul and old Ringo playing with Hello Goodbyes John and George, and the way they was all falling around. What I did love, there was a brilliant shot of Paul, George and Ringo in one shot from the anthology sessions, and apparently there's loads more of that footage available, so what they're going to do with that, I don't know. But that I liked. But I'm not surprised. Peter Jackson, let's be honest, he's done Lord of the Rings. He done King Kong. He is amazing at special effects. So it caught me off guard and I was completely charmed by the video. But when I showed the wife last night, it didn't quite get me the same. I love it. I'm going to enjoy watching it in the future, I'm sure. Seeing all them young Beatles and the old Beatles and Paul with himself when he was young and all. I loved all that. And right at the end, when they were showing you Shea Stadium and the Cavern, and then all the Beatles going back in age, you know, to the Quarrymen with John and stuff like that, I did enjoy it, but it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me. Peter Jackson is a wizard when it comes to filmmaking. We've seen this over the years. So it's been I've had a conflicting week with the Beatles. You know, I'm a big fan. I've liked the Beatles for many, many years. But everyone's saying this is amazing and all that. And fair play to you. If that's what you think, wonderful, I'm glad. But for me, it's a bit of a Frankenstein. John's voice and the way he's singing does sound lovely and clear, although there is a bit of a weird bit at the beginning. But the song's overproduced. See, this is another thing. When John does, remember Real Love and Julia, sometimes he does these songs that are very subtle and gentle and frail. John was one of them. He's one of them artists that just exposed himself in more ways than one, two virgins. But, you know, in his lyrics and in his songs, he was very open-hearted. This is who it is. Please or offend. That was John Lennon. But it feels very big and modern, apart from John singing. Now, is the single going to do well? It's already doing well. It's selling like hotcakes. It's going to. But for me, it's made me have a rethink about the red and the blue. I think I'm not going to buy them on record now. I think I'm going to buy these on CD. And I'll tell you why. I want to hear Rubber Soul, like they did with Revolver, like they did with Let It Be, and the other remasters, because the stereo on that was quite dreadful. But the early singles, like Love Me Do, which is the B-side, which I have heard a few times, and it's done very well. Very well. The vocals are there, the harmonica's over there, and all that lot. And it does sound newish. I like Love Me Do in mono. It's got a bit more punch. I don't know, it just feels whole. It feels fragmented. But, you know, it's subjective. Music's always subjective. But for me personally, that's how I like to listen to it. So I want to hear the Red Album. Of course I want to hear these mixes, but The first few albums of the Beatles, you know, Please Please Me, With the Beatles, Beatles for Sale, A Hard Day's Night, I like them in mono. They sound good in mono. Now, I know they went right up to Pepper, I do believe, in mono. I think Sgt. Pepper sounds magical, whimsical, wonderful in stereo. Always thought that. And the 2017 remaster, I absolutely adore it. It's not the best of the remasters. For me, Revolver and Let It Be probably are the best. The White Album was amazing, so was Abbey Road. But, you know, for me, Revolver was amazing. And I was hoping the Beatles was going to do Rubber Soul like that, 4 discs with the book and a big box. I was looking forward to that. Because, like I said, Rubber Soul, the stereo on it is, the vocals are over there and the guitar's over there. So if you've only got one earbud in, you can't listen to it. But from Rubber Soul to Magical Mystery Tour, sure. I do want to listen to those remastered and remixed. But as for the early ones, I'm going to listen to them, of course I am. But I'm not that worried, to be honest with you. I like them the way they are. I like all the Beatles the way they were. But for me, the early ones don't need to be separated into stereo. Sure, I'm going to listen to them, and I might be caught off guard and I might really enjoy them. Maybe even help. Might be nice that way. But the early ones, I think, they sound great in mono, and I'm happy with them that way. So, unfortunately, I won't be buying the red and the blue, like I initially said in my last video. I'm going to buy the CD. They run chronologically. They run all the way through correctly. Like I said, disc 3, I think, if my memory's right, goes right back. And it's kind of the sequencing's out. And I think they'll be redundant. They will end up just sitting on my shelf once they do release Rubber Soul. And they are going to. Of course they're going to. They're going to do them all. The only thing is they may go back to Please Please Me and then work up so Rubber Soul might be the last one we get. I just don't know. But they've gone from the beginning all the way up and right the way through, and they've done all these new remasters. So I'm going to go for the CDs on this one, guys, and save myself a bit of money. Because at the end of the day, I don't want the red and the blue album that I've already got on vinyl. Just shelf fillers. I've got enough on my shelves, thank you very much. So, yeah, I'm going to opt for the CDs on this one, which is unlike me. I'm more of a vinyl collector. I don't buy a lot of CDs. And final thoughts, my final penny's worth. As you know, I went last year to see the ABBA in concert, you know, that Voyage or whatever it was called, and it blew my mind. And this is the way the future's going to go. So I'm quite looking forward to seeing the next Beatle concert when they was in their prime. It's going to happen. It's only a matter of time. And Elvis and all the others, the Doors and all that lot. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Am I glad I listened to it? Absolutely. But am I going to buy into it? The hype, I feel it's a bit Free as a Bird, Real Love. It doesn't feel to me like a real Beatles song. We all know what George thought of it, but we didn't have that demixing technology. But it was a demo that John decided not to use himself when he put out Double Fantasy. So that's just my thoughts. It feels very much like a Paul McCartney thing, and it's going to make him a fortune. But it's on the CD. It's going to be on the CD, so I'll have it, but I'm not going to go out and buy every vinyl and the 12-inch and the CD single, like many of you Beatle collectors will. Of course you will. I like it, but I'm not bowled over. So there you go. Disagree with me all you like. I know you're probably gonna. I did enjoy the music video, but Peter Jackson can do this. They can do everything now. Look at all these wonderful, mad films that they do now. It's incredible. So, quite a week for Beatles, but I'm a little underwhelmed. Anyway, if you disagree with me, write them down below. If you think I'm right, let me know also. Are you enjoying Now and Then? I am. But they missed out a big section to me that I actually thought was really cute and quaint of John's. But there you go. That's just my thoughts. And with that, guys, I'm going to bid you farewell. Have yourselves a fantastic week. Much love. And I'll be back with another ramble real soon. Take care of yourselves.